Fast zombies, slow zombies, night zombies, American zombies, UK zombies. Guys, welcome back to the iQuarrel channel. And yes, you've guessed it, the long awaited zombie movie ranking video. The people asked and they have received. I know this video has been a long time in the making. I do apologize for the delay. Sometimes life gets in the way and these things have to be put on pause. But nonetheless, I am back and I'm really excited to show you guys this one. I've got some new ideas for the videos coming in future, and yeah, it's good to see this channel still growing. I'm having a lot of fun watching some new movies, finding out ones that I really like, some hidden bangers. But even finding movies I don't like, it's pretty interesting because then we still get to talk about them later. So I've got some zombie movies down below. I've got about 15. There are so many zombie films. I originally had a list of, I think I counted about 50 movies.
You need to find yourself a girl, mate.
And I thought, that's too many, let's do 30. Even with 30, there was so many movies that I had to find a way to watch, rent, weren't even out yet in Australia. So there was some movies that I just didn't really see myself being able to see in the next coming weeks. So I went with 15 movies. And if this video does well, I guess we can always do a sequel, a follow-up, if you will. But I've got 15 movies. I've seen all of these. I've written down my thoughts, pros and cons, soundtrack thoughts, cast member thoughts. And yeah, we're going to rank them once again. So I've got some interesting tier list headers here. Night of the Living Dead Set Best Film Ever. So obviously that's a play on words with Night of the Living Dead, the movie, which I think, I could be wrong, is a 50s movie. You've got No Brainer. This is just an easy watch. This is a good movie. Like it's a no-brainer. Just put on this movie and you will enjoy it. This is the halfway mark. I really couldn't think of anything, so I just went with 50% infected. 50% meaning that, again, halfway mark. It's not great, but it's not bad. I like it fine. I don't dislike it. It is what it is. And then you've got Brain Teaser, kind of a play on words with the whole brain thing and, you know, zombies not really having any brains or eating brains. Going with Brain Teaser, though, this is like, I guess, more of a mystery, kind of confused reaction after seeing a film. I've watched a movie and I've gone, that made no sense, or I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know why they did this. This has just left me with questions, more questions than answers. And probably just, yeah, I didn't really like it. It wasn't probably terrible, like absolutely terrible, but like, yeah, I was confused. I wasn't really satisfied by the ending. That's that. And then another play on words, because we like to do that, Yawn of the Dead, which is a play on Dawn of the Dead, which we've actually listed here. So these are the 5 headers. These are the 15 movies. And yeah, let's see how we go. So straight off the bat, film number 1, World War Z. Is it a classic? No. Is it a good movie? Yeah, honestly, it is. It's very intense with the zombies, funnily enough. The first time I watched this, I was probably a preteen, and I remember being quite freaked out by the zombies. They were angry, they were fast, they were all together, they were piling up over each other. It was scary. But with that said, the zombies don't really show much gore. There's no real gore factor to this movie. Zombies are angry, they're infected, they're hyped up, they're all running, they're coming for you. They're so, you know, I guess motivated to just, you know, increase the infected numbers, which is great for them. But there's no gore, there's no real blood, and I feel like that's kind of a miss with this movie, where everything else is pretty standard, for like what you'd expect. But yeah, there's no blood, there's no real like realism, I guess, with the zombies, and that's what was missing a bit for me. But that's the only con I can really think of. I did a little bit of research on others' thoughts, and some people said that the CGI was lacking a little bit. I thought it was fine. I will say I've never really been a Brad Pitt guy. He's got some excellent movies, obviously, like Seven and Fight Club. But I've never really found myself being a complete Brad Pitt fan.
You Brad Pitt.
I've never been a hater by any means, but I went in watching this movie, and it was probably like my introduction to a Brad Pitt kind of film. And as an actor, I have to say I quite thoroughly enjoyed his role in this movie. Yeah, it was fine. A section of this film that I really liked is when they're all in, I guess, can't even remember where they're all at, but they're all in this area, and the infected are all fenced off outside. There's this huge concrete gate that the people have built to keep the zombies out, and it's working for only so long before all the zombies are piling up over each other to basically get up and fall down into where all the humans are, and then the infection spreads again, and there's zombies in the actual base. And I think that was a pretty iconic scene in the movie, but after everything else, that's kind of really it for me. I didn't mind the idea of the zombies not being interested in people with diseases. So if you are infected with some kind of like, I guess, yeah, disease, or, whatever, like the zombies won't target you. They have no interest in you. They only want to go for, I guess, healthy people, because they're infected. They're not healthy. So I didn't mind that. So obviously, if you, like Brad Pitt's character does, injects himself with some kind of, illness, and then the zombies don't really want to go for him. They have no interest in him. I like that concept. I don't mind it. It's quite unique for me, at least. It's not your typical thing. But yeah, it's fine. Overall, the movie for me, I would have to put it in a no-brainer. I think that's it, because it's not a classic for me by any means. The title is kind of cool, World War Z, obviously for zombies. But I don't think it's a classic. It's probably just under, but it's by no means just like a fine film. I reckon it's an easy watch. It's got plenty of entertaining scenes, and some good moments overall. So yeah, no brainer for me. Film number 2, Zombieland. For me, like, just I would actually say this is a classic zombies film. Not a classic just horror movie by any means, but it's a zombie movie that is a horror comedy kind of film. It's mainly horror, but it does like to focus on some funny moments, and the comedic scenes aren't too over the top by any means. They are just fun, good moments, scenes that are appropriately done. When it comes to comedy, it's really satisfying the way they did it in this film. I really like the cast here. This movie came out in 2009 in Australia, and yeah, to have the people that they had for this film, awesome choices. I mean, to have Woody Harrelson and, Jesse Eisenberg, obviously these two are a bit of a dynamic duo when it comes to some films. I'm mainly thinking of Now You See Me, the movies. Emma Stone's always good, and even Bill Murray's in this, funnily enough. So yeah, it's pretty good, with the cast. And yeah, I just have to say I like the characters. I think they were casted well. Also, it's funny how Amanda Heard is in the start of this film. Not a big fan of her for obvious reasons, each to their own. But I like that she's in this film, and you kind of go, oh, ugh. And, very quickly she turns into a zombie and she is off very quickly. So that's kind of a little satisfying moment. Obviously, that was before all the allegations, but for me, watching this movie now with the start, it is a little bit of a hidden pleasure, I have to say. Also, another pro for this movie is it uses some awesome environmental areas. I really like the use of creative space here. I like that they end the film with being at a theme park, and that you've got characters shooting zombies on whilst on a roller coaster. And the two girls are at the top of this, I guess, giant drop kind of, or mini giant drop attraction, and they are at the top of this, ride, and they're shooting zombies as the zombies are climbing up, trying to reach the two girls. That's satisfying. Like it's different, it's a theme park. It's exciting. There's a scene with a haunted house where our, I guess, wimp, more geek of the group, gets lost in, and his number one fear is clowns. And there's a zombie clown in it, and it's a really funny scene. It's like, again, there's all these little things that they mention throughout the film, and eventually there's a scene where it kind of introduces what they've been talking about, and you get to see that idea come to life. So I really like this film. It's not probably my favorite zombie film, but at the same time, if I really think about it, it probably is. I guess we'll see. But yeah, film number 3, 28 Days Later. And Days Later, honestly, yeah, probably a zombies classic. Personally, what I like about this movie is that, again, kind of similar to World War Z, the zombies are very angered. But unlike World War Z, these zombies are completely animalistic, which is kind of rich because obviously if you've seen these movies, the infection starts from animals, monkeys essentially. I like that this movie is also not an American apocalypse, zombie apocalypse kind of film, but it's based in the UK. So a little bit different. Not your average kind of zombie apocalypse idea, but somewhere else. We get to explore a different environment, and that's always exciting. The zombies are, they're animalistic. They're angry. They are bloody. Their eyes are red. They are angry. These zombies live off violence. Obviously, they want to spread the infection and, rip into, human flesh, but they are angry. They are hungry. They are super, super triggered. And that's what I like about this movie. There are plenty of scenes that are really harsh, and as the audience, you're sitting there and you are on edge a little bit because you know that whenever zombies are around, it's going to be not really an easy fight. If you've got guns, you just better hope that there's not many zombies, or you have plenty of ammo and the right people with you, because these zombies would be hard to kill. Film number 4, though. I Am Legend. Classic Will Smith movie. I think, funnily enough, it's a no-brainer that this is a Night of the Living Dead set best film ever. This is another classic zombies film. I really like this one, not because Will Smith is in it. Obviously there's a lot of good Will Smith movies. This is definitely one of his better ones, but I like this movie because we've seen it a few times, but this movie delivers night zombies. Zombies that come out only in the dark. And that's what I like about this film. Set in like a New York kind of area, where there would be people everywhere. There's obviously just Will Smith and his loyal companion, Max, a dog, who is so cute. But it's just Will. It's just Will Smith's character, and he is completely isolated in this huge city during the day where there is no one else. And then what I like about this film is of a nighttime, he has to absolutely barricade himself inside of his home because that's obviously when all the zombies come out to hunt. So that's what I like about the film. It's got a pretty sad ending, I'd say, towards the end of the middle half of the movie when, you know, the dog gets bitten. That's a very hard to watch scene for me personally. I wouldn't say obviously ruins the movie, but it's always a hard scene to watch when a dog's in pain or dies. But, you know, overall, this is an easy watch. This is a classic. You know, the title is very familiar to most people, I would say. Great film. Love it. Film number 5, Planet Terror. What an interesting film. Directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced by Quentin Tarantino. A very unique adaptation for zombies. I think there's plenty to like about this film, but there's also probably, watching this nowadays, if you've never seen this, it's got a really good choice of cast members. Some very decent familiar faces, I would say. You've even got Bruce Willis in this. You know, so it obviously, I guess there was a little bit of faith in the success before this movie released, but it's not one of my favorites. I watched this. I hadn't seen this until I started doing this video. It's got some unique ideas about it, but it really is just a zombie apocalypse. And, you know, you've got your characters and they don't know what's going on until they do finally see a zombie, and then everyone bands together and they have to try and take down the people that started the infection and, you know, watch it from there. Would I recommend it? If you like zombie movies, probably. It's got a cool idea with the main character, the stripper lady who wants to be a stand-up comedian instead of a stripper. Her leg gets torn off in the start of the film, and her, I guess, boyfriend straps an M16 to her leg, and that becomes her weapon of choice. Which is very confusing because she doesn't use her hands to pull the triggers. She just kicks her leg up and the gun shoots. So it's a unique idea. I think it's pretty badass in the film at times, but other than that, this is probably just a background noise film for me personally. I wouldn't probably recommend it. But, of course, we have to rate it. Where am I going to put it? Probably the 50% infected. I don't really sit there like, why'd they do that? Or this makes no sense. You know, like it's one of those, I guess, eerie kind of early 2000s films that you watch and, you know, you get the vibe instantly, like with what kind of film it's going to be. It's very Quentin Tarantino, which is a good thing. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a good film or nearly a classic. It's not a bad film. It's in between for me. But number 6, Shaun of the Dead. Classic for me. I love this movie. I think that this is like Zombieland, it's a very funny zombies film. It has its serious times, and it's definitely harsh, you know, in one scene or another. Because obviously it's a zombie film and, you know, you're going to occasionally have a character that does die. But this film is funny. It's got that very dry British humor from the early 2000s kind of vibe, which I really rate. I like personally. Some people I know aren't about that kind of humor, but most people I know that watched this film found it really funny. There's some really good classic moments where they really make fun of a lot of just those classic zombie film moments, and they do it in a, I guess, a parody kind of format, but it still feels like, you know, an actual just you're watching a film. It doesn't feel like they're trying to like, you know, come off another movie, for example. It just feels like its own thing, and what they do is really, really funny. But I like this movie. It's an easy watch. Another 2004 film. Um, and I like that as well as it being funny. It's got two beloved actors, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, another dynamic duo, if you will. If you're thinking of maybe Hot Fuzz or Paul, these two together are always hilarious. They're always really good together, and in this movie, they just do it for me. So I really like this movie. Yeah, enough said. If you haven't watched it, my question to you would be, why haven't you watched it? It's definitely a movie to watch. I'd say preferably with a group of people, because you will be laughing out loud with your mates to this film. That I can guarantee. On to film number 7. 28 weeks later. This is tricky because it needs to sit in the top 2. Some people might say this is a Night of the Living Dead set best film. This is a classic zombies film. If you like zombies, you like movies, you need to put this in your list for top 5, top 10, whatever. It feels like a no-brainer. It's really tricky. For me personally, this was also the first of this series of movies that I'd seen. I started with this one. I actually watched 28 Years Later. Then I started with Days Later. I was very behind. Look, I think I have to, honestly. I like Days Later more than Weeks Later, but some people say this is the best of the series. I like this one because it's a decent follow-up. It's got a great helicopter mowing down of zombies scene where, you know, the helicopter's coming down and the blades from the propeller are, you know, slashing zombies down. It's an awesome scene. Some good characters. It's also got some highly stressful moments. The zombies are the exact same. They're really angry. They're really violent. They're so mad. Yeah, both these movies remain with plenty of suspense and stressful moments during the entire film. You will never feel like you can just sit down and relax. You're always waiting for the zombie to return. So I would have to put this, yeah, in I'd say a classic zombie film. If you haven't seen this one, or both of them for that matter, you need to. You really need to. They're really violent, but they're really good zombie ideas, apocalypse ideas put to life. And again, it's a zombie apocalypse in the UK, which I think is an interesting idea because it's unique. It's different. We don't get to have every zombie film be in another place in the world, and I like that they do that. Film number 8, though. I can't believe I put myself through watching this film. Number 8, Warm Bodies. I have to say, I hadn't seen this film, just saying. I had to watch this for this ranking video. This film would be really, really good. I would really, really recommend it if you were a 16-year-old girl. Even then, you're probably not going to like this film. I started with this one. It was a very slow burn. The start just kind of took a while for me. I was on my phone, drinking coffee, eating food, trying to keep myself entertained by doing something else. But I got through this film, and I have to say, I'm a little bit embarrassed, but I liked it. I guess the midsection kind of got to a point where I thought I knew what this movie was going to be about, but it got better and better, and the end was really satisfying. And I hate that I have to say that. So, yeah, look, I'm probably gonna put it here with the 50% infected. It's not an easy watch at the start, but it gets better. It's nothing like Planet Terror. I wouldn't really want to watch this again. I probably will one day. I would probably watch this again though. I'll probably come back to this in the next year or two just because it wasn't bad. And again, really satisfying ending. What I like about this movie is it's another zombie apocalypse film in America, classic. But the zombie that I guess our main character, who is a zombie, he's in his head with his thoughts of, what it's like to be a zombie and how life's really boring and pointless and how he likes to eat humans, and that's really as good as life gets. But he finds a girl with another few survivors, and he ends up saving her from a horde of zombies, and he ends up falling in love with this girl who isn't infected. And the girl at first is afraid because he's a zombie. But very slowly but surely, they start to have some kind of bond. And again, he loves her. She's kind of like, yeah, all right, he's cool. And then, gets, I guess, more feelings towards him without kind of knowing it. But these two ultimately kind of fall for each other. It's a romantic horror, I guess, which didn't really sell it for me for like wanting to watch this film. But it's satisfying. You watch this movie and it's got a good soundtrack. It's got some old bangers in there by like Bob Dylan and even Scorpion, and there was another Bruce Springsteen song, Hungry Heart, that was in this. So good soundtrack with some old classic songs. But I really like the concept of the more, I guess, human affection and conversations that the zombies have, the more they become human again. They are dead, they're called corpses, but the more interaction that our zombie named R gets with this girl, the more human he becomes and remembers about himself. And he has a best friend as well in this movie, and even his best friend, like, upon meeting the girl, his best friend wants to eat the girl, but, our guy in the red sweater here goes, no, please, and then, because they're best mates, the zombies kind of eventually fall for the girl, and, they become more human because they're having human interactions again. And it's an interesting, I guess, curing effect. Zombies spend time with humans and they become more humans. It's nothing I've ever thought of or seen, so to see this, it was an interesting idea. On paper, I probably wouldn't have liked it, but I watched it in the film and it got better. I have to say, it's almost a no-brainer for me. It is a little bit cringe still, especially at the start. It's so like, oh, watch it and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But it gets better, I do promise you that. Some people will still hate this film, others, mainly probably girls and guys that just don't mind a rom-com or whatever, will watch this film and they will find it satisfying. I was one of those guys. Another thing I like about this movie, though, is you don't just have zombies. You have zombies that are, or have been zombies. They've been infected for a long time, and I believe, funnily enough, they're called bonies. And basically these zombies they have no skin, they have no flesh, they are basically infected skeletons, and they are like the turbo, the muscle, they are top of the food chain when it comes to the zombies, the infected in this movie. They are the bosses. And I like how they did that, because without that, it wouldn't have really made the ending as satisfying. At the start, it's just like another thing, but, it becomes more and more relevant towards the end, and I think they really did a good job with using those. So, 50% infected, kind of like an in-betweener with No Brainer and the 50% mark. Yeah, I hate that I liked this film. That's all I want to say. Next on the list is Zombieland Double Tap, the long-awaited, delayed sequel. This took a long time to come out. Without even talking about it, first of all, though, let's just get into where I put it. It's hard, but I've seen this a few times and I like it. I think, again, good cast, good new additions with the cast members, the new characters in this. It's still funny. It's, I like the way they did this with the story. You've got your four cast members, your characters in the family group that they're kind of in. And they start off in the White House. And I think that's a really unique, zombie-based environment. You don't see that, but funnily enough, every zombie film, the government and the soldiers are always pretty much wiped out. But they use that space really well, and I really like that they take advantage of where they are in the start of this film. But they quickly lose their youngest of the family, Little Rock. She decides that she wants to kind of live her life, and she's a young adult, and these guys have kind of experienced what it's like to be an adult and make their own decisions and be independent and stuff like that. And that's what Little Rock decides she wants for herself. So she ends up running away and basically finding herself with a group of hippie survivors that play guitar, have a bunch of marijuana, and have no guns, basically. I believe they shred, they melt the guns and they make necklaces. Like, it's those kind of people. But this film's cool because then, we've got our three main characters basically on a journey to find Little Rock. And, with who they meet along the ride, it's a plenty enough captivating story for me. I think the direction this film goes it's not by any means better than the first, but it's still a good film. It's easy to watch. Plenty of good and interesting kills. But yeah, I wouldn't say, if I said from 1 to 10, 1 being this is not a good film and 10 being what a banger, I would probably have to say maybe a 7. Maybe a 6.8 or a 7, 7.2. I don't know. Something kind of like in that range, but it's an easy watch nonetheless. I enjoyed it, but it's not like, it's not a classic. Not nearly. On to the next one, though. Movie number 10. Wow. Funnily enough, personal fave, another 2004 movie. I'm going to keep saying that because there are a few 2004s in this list. But Dawn of the Dead is really good. I really enjoyed this film. This is an easy watch. And kind of a classic depiction of what a zombies film should be like, in my opinion. What I like about this movie is it has a great variety of characters. You've got a girl that's probably really up herself, and, you classic, I guess, idea of the pretty girl and all that. You've got the cop who, is trying to just get by any means, and, he's willing to stick it out with the right group of people, but he's also not really trusting of anyone. You've got the main finalist girl, who, has lost her husband in the start of the film, and really she wants to just survive, but she doesn't lose herself in the apocalypse. She finds that, she's still making the decisions that are the best for everyone, no matter the cost. So I like her. You've also got, I guess, the selfish kind of guy who really is just like the rich-minded guy who will use people, and he's a bit of a smartass at times. And I actually found it really funny how that was Phil from Modern Family. But yeah, you've got a really good list of just different personalities with the survivalists in this movie. And I really like the environment. It's a really unique idea for a safe zone from zombies, a shopping mall, essentially. I like that because you've still got zombies there, but there's no one really in it besides the already 3 security guard survivors, and then the newly arrived survivors who, upon meeting, they don't trust each other, they don't have a good system. But ultimately, as more and more people come and find the shopping mall safe zone, they find a really good system with the survivors. They've got plenty of food. It's a shopping mall. There's plenty of resources. They end up kind of surviving and having a really good time. This movie had some really good moments with the use of the shopping mall kind of environment. But it comes down to ultimately they don't want to die there, and they want to find a different environment, because ultimately you can only survive within this area for so long before you run out of food or people go insane, and they don't see themselves remaining there for that long. And so what I really like about this film as well is they go into the parking lot, again, with plenty of resources in the shopping mall. They find these 2 buses, which they completely zombieify. They zombie-proof it, so to speak. They pimp it out, apocalypse style, and it becomes a, I guess, Mad Max Fury Road type vibe, where it's got chains and spikes, and they've got their weapons, and basically they just end up mowing down a bunch of zombies trying to get to one of the characters' ship, where they can sail across the waters to, I guess, a island that is basically without zombies. I really recommend this film. I think that a lot of people I know will not have seen this film, and they really need to see this film. If you like zombie movies, or maybe even you don't, but you want to watch one of them, obviously you need to watch Zombieland. You'd probably need to watch I Am Legend and stuff like that, but I think this is a hidden gem. This is a really good movie, hands down. Number 11. We're getting through the list. Guys, this is a really interesting one. The Crazies. Where am I going to put this? I feel like you know if I'm hyping it up already, but I am going to put it... I haven't really considered the order of these, but, they're all classics in my eyes. This is a really good film. It's probably not a classic. It's probably another hidden gem. The Crazies is a really good film, though. And I'm a little bit biased because I love Timothy Olyphant. From The Girl Next Door, Scream 2, even Justified. I think he's a really good actor. I have to say, this film is full of suspense, and it continues that throughout the entire film. There's never a moment where you want to relax, check your phone, whatever. You are just constantly like, something's going to happen. And it does. This is a really good film. I have to say, from the start, the first 5 minutes, this is going to be a good film. I like this film as well because it's a unique zombie experience. And you could argue it's not even a zombie movie, but it is an infection. It's a biochemical weapon, I guess, that drops within the town's water supply. And unfortunately, the people drinking the water turn crazy. They become violent, very angry, fueled with hate, and it sets them all on a murderous rampage across the town. And our main character and his wife, and a couple others along the way, they try and survive, essentially. And they need to find a way out of the town. But the military intercepts, and it becomes a full-on thing. But it's so powerful that even the military stepping in does nothing. So I have to say, this is a really good film. If you haven't, please watch this. I could watch this again and again and again. This is a really good film. Plenty of scenes where you will go, oh my God, like, whoa, because it is pretty intense at times. I'm thinking of mainly the car wash scene, a little bit triggering for me personally, but easy watch nonetheless. Very captivating. You will just sit there and you will just not be bored, essentially. This is an easy watch, and I can't stress that enough. Really good film. The Crazies. Make sure you watch it. On to the next film, 28 Years Later. I love all of these films. I haven't seen Bone Temple. You're probably wondering why, Isaac, is this not on the list? And that is because with a mortgage, I currently cannot put an extra $28 to renting a movie. I can't right now. Sounds a bit silly, but I can't do it for a movie. Right now, I just can't. I would rather wait a month or two for when it jumps onto a streaming platform and I can watch it for free. But with that said, I have seen 28 Years Later. Still yet to watch Bone Temple. Keen for it. I've heard it's completely metal. It's awesome. And much better than this one. But nonetheless, I liked this movie. It had some really cool camera angles. I thought the fact that they were filming this with iPhones was pretty interesting. But it's basically just another of these films. The 28 kind of films. Where do I put this though? Probably here. In the Infected, the halfway point. It's not great for me, but it's not bad by any means. It's probably really close to being a no-brainer, but I just didn't enjoy this film as much as I wanted to. With both of these being as good as they are, I expected big things, and they really delayed this film as well. These films were kind of back-to-backers. This film was like, where have you been the entire time? So I liked this film. I haven't seen it since the cinemas when it came out, but I will watch it when I can again. I did enjoy it. It wasn't my favorite. But I do have to say, although it's not the Bone Temple, the movie, the Bone Temple is still in it. And I have to say, as a concept, that was really cool. And any movie where Voldemort is obviously not Voldemort, but the actor who plays Voldemort, I've just forgotten his name. I'm sorry. But any movie he's in, I have to say is pretty good. So I enjoyed this film. But it's not a favorite by any means. Scout's Guide to a Zombie Apocalypse. Number 13. This is a no-brainer. But it's a personal no-brainer for me because I was a scout as a teenager. So yeah, it's quite relatable. The characters, the two main, even three main scout characters are very, very me as well, what I was like as a teenager. I'm watching this film and I see myself and a couple of my mates as the main characters. It's hard not to. It's so relatable. It's not funny. But I really enjoyed this film personally. I think when this came out as a trailer or just the idea of this, there was a lot of hype for me and my mates, and watching this was just really fun. There's a really badass gear up scene with a Pusha T song playing, where they go to, I guess, like an American Bunnings, like a hardware kind of store, and they use their scout knowledge to make weapons, where they ultimately head to the party that they were thinking they were invited to, and they end up massacring all the zombies that are there with these homemade weapons. And it's a really cool scene. You've got some really, wimpy kind of loser characters, which again, funnily enough, I guess I relate to as that kind of guy. But these characters are really funny. There's some really not over the top funny kind of comedic scenes, but like there are some really appropriately done comedic type scenes in this movie where you won't watch this and go, oh, it's just a parody movie or it's a comedy. It's more of like it is like that horror action kind of vibe, but our characters do have that realism where they don't lose themselves in the apocalypse. They still stick to their quirky personalities, and it's not too intense. It's done really well, and yeah, again, for me, I found it really relatable and enjoyable. So I have to say, this is a great film. If you haven't, once again, make sure you watch it. Number 14. We're coming to the end now, and I'm kind of disappointed that I haven't put anything here just yet. I really thought I was with Warm Bodies, but we've still got two movies, and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, for me, is a no-brainer. This is a cool film, especially if you have played the Resident Evil games. You'll know these characters. The storyline's very familiar. It's very much Resident Evil 1 and 2. I found this movie to be awesome. I like the use of the mansion from the first game and the, police, I guess, RPD environment from the second Resident Evil game. But this was a fun movie. I like how it merged the first couple games together for this experience. But yeah, this is a dark Resident Evil adaptation. It's a fun movie. I don't even really know what to say. If you know the games and you like the games, this is an easy watch, and I really recommend it. Funnily enough, also, when this movie came out in 2021, I do have to say I saw it and I had no hype. I had no interest in this. I watched this purely for this video, and I watched this, and I have to say, maybe a bit of a hidden gem. Maybe just not a hidden gem, but I really like this. I'll definitely watch this again. That's all I'll say. And lastly, number 15, Cooties. I like this film. I've seen it a few times. I haven't seen it in a while. I'm going to say I like it fine, personally. I like this film because it's funny. It's got Elijah Wood, and there's a scene where, funnily enough, there's that Lord of the Rings kind of Easter egg in the start as well, which I appreciated. But yeah, it's got some funny moments. My advice would be, if you are watching this and you're eating some food, don't eat nuggets. That's all I'm going to say. This film, I guess the infection does kind of start because there's some kind of diseased chicken that ultimately is slaughtered and made into chicken nuggets, and one of the kids at the school eats said nugget and becomes infected. And that's something I like about this movie. It's not just your average zombies, it's kid zombies. They're all infected with this plague, and I guess, yeah, the title makes it Cooties. And they're all little psychopaths. They're all hungry for human flesh. This is a gross movie. It's definitely funny. I do recommend it, but if you have a weak stomach and you don't like violence or gore, or just anything really disgusting, probably don't watch this movie. But it is an easy watch, to be honest, and it's got plenty of good moments. So I do have to say it's an easy watch for me. I don't hate it. I don't love it at the same time. So that's why I'll put it there. But that's basically it, guys. Like, all these films are movies that I'll watch again. Some of them are fine. Some of them are great. And some of them are bloody fantastic. I love these movies. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what you guys think with these. Obviously, some of these are really just movies that you've probably never heard of, whilst others are definitely classics that everyone should know. But please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm always interested to know what you guys think of the way that I've ranked these. If you agree, disagree, what you would have done differently. If you're new to the channel, this is what we do. We're basically ranking stuff. I look forward to doing more stuff like this, but I ultimately do want to go into some more music kind of topics. I'm thinking favorite artists, albums, stuff like that. I've got plenty of ideas, so hopefully looking to do some of those videos soon. But this is what the people wanted. Everyone who voted, thank you for voting. The choices were ghost movies, monster movies, vampire movies. I went for vampire. My bad. I went for monster movies. I was really keen for that. I still will do that. I've got an awesome idea for that. But everyone really wanted zombie films. So I hope if you're watching this video, you've liked it somewhat. And yeah, please subscribe, like the video, and soon there will be more. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.